Success doesn't come from making something once, it comes from making it better every day. Hi, I'm Randy. Every great success story leaves clues, not because successful people were perfect, but because their habits can make us become the best version of ourselves. Today, we're stepping back to a time before highways, before traffic lights, and before automobiles became part of everyday life. Henry Ford didn't invent the automobile. What he did was far more important. He made it possible for ordinary families to own one. Let's just discover the success habit that changed the world. Henry Ford was born July 30th, 1863. Birthplace Greenfield Township, Michigan. Henry Ford was not born into wealth or privilege. He grew up on a farm just outside Detroit where his family was used to hard work and long days in the fields and on the farm. But Henry's curiosity pulled him in a different direction, while others accepted the way things had always worked and been done. Henry's curiosity wondered if there was a better way. That simple habit of asking, how can this be improved, would shape the rest of his life. A curious mind begins to grow. Long before Henry Ford built an automobile, he was fascinated with machines. Every tool, every engine, every moving part was an opportunity to learn. His greatest education didn't come from a classroom, it came from curiosity. The boy who couldn't stop taking things apart. Henry received a pocket watch. Most boys would have treasured it. Henry took it apart. Then he put it back together. Soon neighbors were bringing him broken watches to repair. His curiosity became his classroom. Henry Ford's education didn't come only from books. When he was 13 years old, his father gave him a pocket watch. Most children would have admired it. Henry wanted to understand it. So he carefully took the entire watch apart piece by piece. Then he figured out how to put it back together. That was the hard part. Before long, neighbors began bringing him broken watches because they knew young Henry could fix them. That simple habit tells us something important. Henry wasn't satisfied with knowing that something worked. He wanted to understand why it worked. Curiosity became the foundation for everything that followed. But repairing watches wasn't enough. Henry dreamed of building machines much bigger than anything on the family farm. Bigger dream than the farm. 1879, at just 16 years old, Henry left the family farm from Detroit. He wanted to become a machinist. He wasn't running away from hard work, he was running towards opportunity. At 16 years old, Henry made one of the biggest decisions of his life. He left the family farm and moved to Detroit to become an apprentice machinist. The farm taught him discipline. The machine shop taught him precision. Every new skill he learned convinced him that there was always a better way to build, repair, and improve machines. Henry was beginning to discover the habit that would define his entire life: never stop improving. Then one expected opportunity put Henry Ford alongside one of the greatest inventors in history. Learning from the greatness, Henry joined Edison Illumination Company, eventually became the chief engineer. Henry Ford's work ethic earned him a position with the Edison Illumination Company. His ability to quickly stood out, and he promoted to chief engineer. While working there, Henry met Thomas Edison. When Ford shared his idea for a gasoline-powered automobile, Edison encouraged him to keep going. Sometimes all it takes is one respected voice believing in your dream. That conversation gave Henry Ford even greater confidence to pursue what others thought was impossible. Encouragement was important, but building a working automobile would be much harder. And there he met Thomas Edison, the conversation that changed everything. Little side note here, those two became best friends for the rest of their lives. Actually, they had a a getaway place here in Florida, and you could walk from one house to the other, and they spent many summers together. Failure before success. Failure was part of the journey. 1899, Henry started his first automobile company, and it failed. Henry Ford learned something important, though. Success didn't happen overnight. Henry's first automobile company failed. Investors lost confidence. The business closed. But Henry didn't see failure as the end of the story. He saw it as a valuable feedback. Every mistake taught him something. Every setback became another opportunity to improve. Then everything changed with one remarkable automobile. Remember this, and many think this quote came directly from Henry Ford. I love this quote. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again. This time more intelligently. Let me say that again. Failure simply is the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Yes, we all make mistakes, and let's learn by our mistakes, and next time do it more intelligently. Henry Ford's greatest invention, believe it or not, wasn't the automobile. It was the habit of relentlessly improving everything he touched. It was never good enough. He always found a better way. Change the world one improvement at a time. Henry Ford didn't invent the automobile. He made it available to millions. His goal was to make it affordable so all families could have one. His moving assembly line revolutionized manufacturing. Costs dropped, production increased, automobiles became part of everyday life. One man's relentless improvement changed the world forever. Side note here, I worked at a GM plant for a short period of time during COVID, and that assembly line that you see on the picture here is very similar to what we use today. So it's amazing, what Henry Ford did. He changed the assembly line of the car and everything that's made today. It just astounds me how one man changed so much. And let me go on. Henry Ford's greatest contribution wasn't simply building automobiles. His greatest contribution was changing the way products were made. The assembly line. Yes. By introducing a moving assembly line, Ford dramatically reduced production time and lowered costs. For the first time, ordinary working families could afford an automobile. His ideas didn't just transform transportation, they changed manufacturing across every industry. Factories around the world adopted the same principles. Henry Ford provided that improving the process can just impact as improving the product. Here's your challenge. Henry Ford's greatest lesson wasn't about cars. It was about improvement. Improve your habits. Improve your attitude. Improve your character. He repeated these every day. Lead to extraordinary results. Henry Ford reminds us that success rarely comes from one giant breakthrough. Instead, it comes from thousands of small improvements made constantly over time. Each day gives us another opportunity to become a little wiser, a little stronger, a little better than yesterday. Maybe that's the greatest clue Henry Ford left behind. Never stop improving, because when you improve yourself, you improve your future. Remember, never stop dreaming, keep on believing, build, and never quit. Let me ask you something. Do you have a dream? Maybe that dream is to be financially stable, not having to rely on your boss, not having to rely on somebody else. Because I'm sure this thought goes through your mind every day. Every day you go work for somebody, you're making somebody else wealthier. What would happen if you could put in 2 to 3 hours a day, every day, and make the same thing you're making now, if not more? If you're ready to take that next step towards your dream, click on that link below this video